Okay, let's dive into this. Welcome to the Explainer. Today we're unpacking a massive piece of regulatory news that's really shaking up the pharmaceutical world right now. We're looking at AstraZeneca. A total giant in the healthcare industry, right? And this huge regulatory milestone they've just hit with their severe asthma medication in India. If you've ever wondered how modern medicine actually reaches the people who need it most, well, you're in the exact right place. Now, before we get into the nitty-gritty of what AstraZeneca is doing, think about this for a second. What actually happens when a blockbuster drug unlocks a whole new level? It's kind of this fascinating paradox in the world of pharma approvals. See, just because a highly successful, literally life-changing drug exists out there in the world, that doesn't automatically mean every single patient who desperately needs it is allowed to use it. There are super strict legal and medical boundaries in place. But when those boundaries finally shift, the ripple effects are absolutely huge. Section 1. The Big Asthma Breakthrough. Context and Regulatory News. Just look at this headline straight from the source. AstraZeneca secures label expansion for asthma blockbuster Fasenra in India. Honestly, that single sentence packs an incredible amount of regulatory and business weight. It's not just your standard run-of-the-mill product launch. It's this highly strategic, calculated expansion of a massive existing asset in one of the world's absolute most populous and dynamic healthcare markets. Let's move to and see how this builds. Section 2. What exactly is Fasenra? Deconstructing the news. So here is the absolute core of the story. AstraZeneca is pushing their targeted medication, Fasenra, to combat severe asthma. And we're talking about a debilitating respiratory condition here, something that goes way, way beyond just a standard wheeze. And the massive stage for this expansion? India, a rapidly developing healthcare infrastructure with just immense demand and a huge population of patients actively seeking new respiratory treatments. Notice that really specific industry term they use there, blockbuster. In the pharma world, this basically means a highly popular, wildly commercially successful prescription drug. We're talking drugs typically generating over $1 billion in annual global sales. That's a lot of zeros, right? We're looking at this purely from an economic and market presence standpoint today. Earning that blockbuster label means Fasenra already had this massive global footprint, really high utilization, and proven demand way before this specific new regulatory announcement even happened. Section 3. Decoding label expansion. Decoding the jargon. Okay, so what actually is a label expansion? It's simply regulatory permission that allows an already approved drug to treat new patient types, maybe new age groups, or even entirely new conditions. Think of it, well, kind of like expanding the VIP list at a super exclusive club. The drug is already in there, it's active and operating on the market, but the government regulatory gatekeepers have basically just authorized a whole new demographic to officially walk through those doors and get treatment. And this brilliantly illustrates the exact contrast AstraZeneca just navigated. See, a standard original label legally restricts the drug to a very specific, fairly limited patient group. But with an expanded label, the company has provided all the necessary safety and efficacy data to completely unlock this medication for a massively broadened demographic of patients. People who are really suffering from severe asthma and now finally have a new option. To put all of this into perspective, let's just map out the timeline of a drug's life cycle. Step 1 is the initial drug discovery and clinical trials. This phase can literally take decades and billions of dollars. No joke. Then step 2 is that massive hurdle of getting the very first regulatory approval. But step 3, securing a label expansion, is this crucial secondary milestone. It extends a drug's reach and utility without the company having to go all the way back to square one and reinvent the wheel. It is a massive win for both efficiency in medical science and business strategy alike. Section 4. Impact on Indian patients, the Indian market. When you really get down to it, this whole explainer comes down to translating regulatory success into real, tangible patient access in India. Having an expanded label on a piece of government paperwork directly translates to doctors on the ground being able to legally, safely, and officially prescribe this severe asthma treatment to a much wider pool of people. And when you stop and consider the staggering scale of the Indian healthcare market, we're talking about millions of individuals managing complex respiratory conditions. This shift fundamentally alters the entire management landscape for severe asthma out there. So the crucial point is one. Just one. Clearing just one major regulatory hurdle can dramatically open up access for a whole new population. Honestly, it only takes one signature, one approved label expansion to completely change the treatment options and potentially the quality of life for thousands, if not literally millions of patients who have just been waiting in the wings. Which brings us to a really fascinating thought to leave you with today. Which other global blockbusters are out there right now just waiting to unlock their next label expansion? AstraZeneca's move with Fasenra in India is truly just one piece of a massive global puzzle. So the next time you hear about a successful drug, remember that its very first approval is rarely the end of a story. There are always new demographics, new borders, and new labels waiting to be unlocked. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep seeking those direct answers, and as always, keep questioning what's next on the horizon.